Cool. It's front runner broadcasting to the interwebs. It is post the Soweto derby that has gone down on Saturday, the 30th of January. There was much deliberation with my colleagues here at Front Runner on the Friday eve of the game on Saturday, discussing who they thought might start these encounters. And let's maybe refresh everyone's memories as far as the starting 11s were concerned. I'm going to let the gents tell you themselves after today's game, but I have Eddie Dina and Calvin Sosibo joining me so far. Schwabe might join us. That's the beauty of us being fluid on this platform. He can come in at any time once he becomes available. But Eddie, good evening to you. You called this one down to a T. You said 2-1 to Orlando Pirates. That was did you take a punt? Had you put some money on it? Because that would have been a solid bet. That would have been a solid bet. Congratulations, well done.
Good evening, Kamza. Thank you very much. Yeah, I knew that Pirates were going to win this game, and I would have said 2-0, but then I knew that Kaizer Chiefs will come back and score one. Exactly what happened, but yeah, well done to Amabagania.
Yeah, no, let's talk about your starting 11 for them. I don't think you were that far off. Can you kind of tell? I'm going to cross-reference with you. I have the team that they put out today, and let's see how many of those guys you kind of got spot on. Yeah, who was your starting 11 for the winning team? I think that's how I'm going to treat it. Let's look at how you pick the winning team.
All right, I had Ofori in goals, and then I had Yoste on the right, and then I had Tyson and Jele as the two center, and then Sam on the left back, and then in the midfield the three M's, Monaro, Karinge, and Motswari, and then up front I had Otto, Loch, and Vincent Pule.
Okay. So the only difference was that you had Uesta in whilst he started on the bench. Okay. That was pretty good. That's not bad. Let's see. Kelvin, what was your Pirate side? I'm only going to focus on the winning team also, guys. I want to go back to the Chiefs one. Let's focus on the team that won. Kelvin, what was your starting 11 again?
On the winning team, it was Ofori, Sam, Tyson, Jele. It was Yoste, Makarenge, Monare, Ben, and then it was Lodge, Pule. And you guys told me that Mohang was not there.
Okay, that was going to be your first choice. And then when you found out Mungo wasn't playing, who did you go with?
I went to the youngster. Unfortunately, didn't get a run.
Okay, didn't get around today. Okay, also you not too bad. I think you were two off, whilst Eddie was one off. Trey, what was your starting 11? I think yours was pretty much identical to Eddie's, if I'm not mistaken.
Mine was spot on.
Mine was spot on. Spot
exactly
on.
The exact way that Pirates played. That was my starting lineup for Pirates.
Mr. Walters, congratulations.
1-1.
Thank you.
1-1. Well done. And you also said that Pirates were going to win this one. Kelvin, you weren't far off. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we saw this again in this game where Chiefs kind of started like a house on fire. Coach says the same thing at the end of the game that, man, this could have ended or halftime already. It could have seen them with 2 goals up. What is this Lumfuto law that kind of doesn't, manifest itself into anything?
Yeah, it was disappointing for Chiefs. I think Chiefs have themselves to blame for this game. They shot themselves on the foot. I think the conversion rate, they should have took all the chances that they had. The score could have been different by halftime because they were the team that was on the upper hand. They played more into Pirates half. They didn't press that much, but they were good on counter press, which is when they lose the ball, they always regain possession. It could have Manyama punished the first chance that they got. It would have actually summed up the game in the first half because Pirates was looking to play on the long ball, which worked for which worked in bits and batches, but overall they had a game plan that they just wanted to find the ball behind them because they knew that they were slow.
Okay, there we have it. So, I mean, in the end, Eddie, it's a good result for Orlando Pirates. It kind of keeps them in the hunt as far as obviously the title is concerned and keeping a pace with the teams at the top. But what does it mean for Kaiser Chiefs and what you made of their performance today?
Yeah, I think they did pretty well, Kaizer Chiefs, and I think the only thing that was lacking is to finish off. I think there's not really much that they need to, chop and change the team. I think the only thing that they need to do is probably just have time to, when they create those chances, just to bury them in, because games are won when you create chances. You make sure 100% once you get that chance, make sure that you put the ball at the back of the net. So that's exactly what was lacking at Chiefs, and they got punished because of that. Otherwise, if they had used those chances that they got, then we'll be talking of a different story. And also, then credit should go to Orlando Pirates. They got their chances, and they made use of them. And also, a couple of things that happened, with the officials. And I think Pirates, with the match officials, Pirates, in my case, I think Pirates, they were denied 2 penalties, and but it's a part of the game, and you just, of course, the good thing is that they didn't let them down. They just kept on carrying on, and questionable regarding the substitution when they took Loch and Monare and then putting on Mtambo, and I don't know that guy, for me, that's not a Paris material. And I think maybe someone better and could have done it, because all I see, I've been watching him play. All I see is just him running like a headless chicken, and sometimes you don't even find him opening up for the ball. And that's the guy that is in attacking midfield. But for that type of play for Pirates, nah, he's not.
Scathing remarks. Shrey Walters, what's your take on how Chiefs acquitted themselves today?
Yeah, I think they were unfortunate at the end of the day. They could have made it 1-1 with a penalty, and then they could have made it 1-1 with open goals, clear-cut chance on the 6-yard line. Besides making it 1-0 up front, I mean, they could have scored the first goal. I think just going forward now, they should just try and continue on what the positives was, and the positives was that they created some good chances. The positives was that they played the better football on the day, and going into the Nedbank Cup and Casablanca and Amazulu, which is probably the next 3 games in the next 2 weeks or so. So I think that is what they can take into the positives. I don't think Gavin should be too hard on the players. Look, I mean, it was a bad penalty. I think that was the deciding point. The penalty. Had they scored that penalty, I think it could have been a different ball game. I was surprised with Kaizer Chiefs because I didn't expect them to come out, in the way that they did. The game on a whole, I think had everything. Had a bit of drama. Had penalties not given, again some bad officiating because that was a clear-cut penalty. The ref was in the he was perfectly positioned to see, and I mean everybody could see that this guy was busy grabbing the player at the end of the day. So Blom was grabbing the Pule. Blom was grabbing Pule. So yes, we could all see that it was a clear penalty. I think the game went to Pirates' strengths when it was 1-0 and when they didn't score the penalty, because then they could hit you on transition, which they did really well. I'm happy with the likes of Marco coming on and making such an impact.
Yeah,
it did really well.
Okay, let's talk about the trend then, because I mean, Eddie, if you look at the results for Kaizer Chiefs now, it was after the Maritzburg loss, it was some victories, then came a couple of draws, and now it's a loss. Yet I'm hearing the kind of sentiment that says, Chiefs are doing well at the moment. That was a graph, and you were looking at the graph, it would be going down at this point, with today's result being the bottom as far as a loss is concerned. So what's the honest representation of where they are? Are we, because obviously we had all thought they'd moved on from the psychological issue of, pushing through a ceiling to be able to put in Kaizer Chiefs performances. They started doing that. And then, the results, are just not being kind to them? Is that what it is? good play, but no result?
Yeah, I think, like what Shoaib was saying, that they like today's game, they actually I was surprised, with the lineup that they had and the way that they played. They played very well, and it's a matter of that, as I said earlier on, that the chances that they created, they did not make use of them. So I think it's just that time whereby they go back to the drawing board and try to finish off, and those chances that that they get. But judging, if we have to judge Kaizer Chiefs because of today's performance, then that means that there is nothing wrong that they are doing in terms of playing and defending, because they did that pretty well. And only that now they just need to put the ball at the back of the net, and then if they can do that, and then they will be move from where they are now, and even in the coming games, the Nedbank and the Champions League, I think they will do pretty well.
Okay, and then in terms of how they set up, Kelvin, were you surprised Matoho not in the reckoning from the beginning? I mean, you went with a back four that was Pilani Zulu, you had Reef Frostler in the wing-back position alongside with Siabo Ngezana and Cardozo. Somewhat, obviously, whether it's him or Gay, they've been put into the defense. Surprised that Tower didn't get the shout?
Yeah, I was surprised with Mato's absence, but anyway, they did quite well the back line. With the reinforced Cardoso coming back to his original position, which is how I actually said that it's supposed to be.
Right.
With him coming back to the back line, it gave them more stability because he's a good reader of the game. And I think he was more of an impactful player when he's playing in that role more than being pushed in the middle. With Barkos being the one that is a clever player that receives and always have a point of changes point of attack. I think also with the introduction of Marciane, Ngobo didn't play that well, but they kept him quiet. I think there was too much pressure on the youngster, but with the incoming of Ngobo, Chiefs maintain maximum width. They try to use they use their width very well, which is they profited from the penalty from that. And so Samir as well, showing his aerial presence and protecting the ball for players to come into the final third. It was a good game to watch, as Shoaib has mentioned that it had a lot that we expected, a little bit of drama and even decision not going on both teams' way. But at the end of the day, it was a good show for the day.
Shoaib, after the game, Tim Ngozi Lorch in his post-match says, we don't have strikers. So that's why I got deployed as a striker. I'm coming in as a 9. I mean, I guess when they're scoring, it's okay. But, I wonder what that feels like if you're a Mango or you're the Mandelas of this world where, you're trying to be the go-to person for the goals at Orlando Pirates. And yet the coach seems to prefer, I guess, the option of not having the out-and-out striker.
Yes, I think I don't really agree with what Loach is saying, because when I look at the formation and the type of football that they play, is that they don't have, and we've always said that they don't play really with a striker that they need a point of reference to. It's not their type of play. So I don't know if it's just a little bit of arrogance from his side. Obviously, he scored now, coming from not scoring in a while, and getting a bit of form again and making an impact. Sometimes when you listen to the good performers and the interviews, are they really talking about themselves, or they're talking about the team? Because everybody can clearly see that they don't need an out and out striker to play a point of reference. So in that sense, yeah, if you Mango, do you feel a little bit? But I mean, Mango's also coming back from a little bit of an injury. Terence was on the bench as well. I think maybe when the strikers are back, will he say the same thing? Or if the strikers were available now this game, would he have said the same thing? I don't think so. And yes, I just feel that he should know that their type of football doesn't really require, because they require actually a collective unit up front to contribute all with goals.
There we go. So we'll leave it there. 2-1 was the final result for the derby. Orlando Pirates putting Kaizer Chiefs to the sword. A resilient Chiefs. The Chiefs that were in the game for a long stretches of the game, especially in the first half. They missed a penalty. They had clear opportunities, but more professional a performance came from Orlando Pirates, who in the end got all 3 points. Gents, let's keep it moving then in terms of looking at the situation with the other game that was on the go in Trinidad that saw SuperSport United play host to Morocco Swallows. And after a good start to SuperSport United, it was once again the smart use of substitutes from coach Truta to bring in the likes of Mhlongo to get the goal off the bench again and to rescue a result in this one. Kelvin, still unbeaten this team in Morocco Swallows, and they had to do it again with the reinforcements, with the squad that we keep saying, do they have, don't they have, will it be enough over the course of a season? But players are making an impact.
Yeah, players are making an impact, and also I'm happy for Mhlongo coming on the bench as well, scoring. It's positive to see a striker that is positive and he reads the game well. Once he comes in, he scores. With Swallows, what I've picked up is that SuperSport actually set back a little bit more. They had more of their attackers, which is on the wing play. As Swallows will always play, they will always try and maintain the maximum width, use their speed on the sides. It worked for quite some time, but with the reinforcement of the defense that SuperSport had, it was not easy to break them because the isolation was not that much where you find your 1v1s. Because I think one of the players that did well on the side who kept who played on the right, which was played on the right for SuperSport, that youngster did a very good job in keeping the Tokwe out of the game. So even Truta said it as well. He said Truta said so that it was not an easy game to play SuperSport. It was quite a tough match. They're a little bit. They're trying to actually to freshen up the squad, get the boys going. With them, I thought that the absence of Kamaldeen played a very big role in them actually giving them that structure, because he's that player that makes those half moon run. He gets into spaces. He has combination play with the team, so he's the one that makes the team to tick. But again, to get another player to be given a chance and then coming in and score, now we're starting to see a Swallows that is not only relying on one man.
Yeah, you say that, but I mean, do you think that that result could have been a win had Zay Kamaldeen been around? Because it changes, it's a difference of 2 points. If you think that his availability today would have swung the tie in their favor, do you think?
It would have done. I think at this point, and the performance that Kamaldeen has been given, I think he's a striker that needs to be noticed, and defenders are starting to plan against him. In most of the matches you see now, they're starting to have a 2v1 on him, because he's the one that's one of the cleverest play. Because what Swallows do is they always drop Kamaldeen into half spaces and then allow those balls to go in the wider areas, because he's good on making runs into the ball. So with that mobility missing on today's match, it made a lot of difference, because with the reinforced of SuperSport defense, they couldn't actually break them through. Only the goal that came because of lack of concentration from SuperSport. Should have SuperSport been more alert, I think they would have won the game.
Okay, I mean, Shoaib, they were quite sharp. Mahlatsi coming on and being very quick with that free kick, and just a couple of seconds later, that ball is at the feet of Mhlongo, and they're equalizing. And we're seeing now, because obviously we said, do Swallows have enough manpower to take them over the course of the season? Without Kamaldeen, you eke out a draw against a very strong SuperSport side. All the pieces of the puzzle are going to have to make it work if they're going to go for the long run.
Yeah, I don't think they have. I don't think they have what it takes. I feel that Mhlongo, Mahlatsi, they did well coming on, but and Musani and Tama as well.
Right.
I just think they looked a bit flat today, and it is understandable because the amount of games that they've been playing. And if you look at when the energy actually came in, was with with when Mahlatsi came on, when Mhlongo came on, when Musa Nyantama came on. So, and also signs of normal fatigue of teams is teams that will hit the ground running for the first 5-10 minutes and then just go into a 360 and go into flat. So if you look at the first chance they had in the, I think it was the 7th minute, where Ronwen made that fingertip save. That was the only chance, and then after they just went into a flat mode. So that is already, and I'm sure a lot of sports scientists and those and the conditioning coaches will agree with me, that is the signs of a little bit fatigue coming in now, and it's understandable. And then you see the energized, rejuvenated team when 3 fresh players come on that normally comes on as impact players, your Musa Nyantamas, your Mahlatsis, your Mhlongos, and then they, rejuvenate. And also you got the energy of a team that is chasing a game. On the SuperSport side of things, is you have to give credit to Caetano. You're sitting with Phillips at 20 years old, Fleurs at 20 years old. You're sitting at the Botswana international, the Tlogweko, pronounce it. There we go. He's at 23 years old. Boole at 23. Weber's 23. Lungu's 22. I mean, the majority of the team is under 23 side. And then you have to also trust the process of, and that's not lapsing concentration. That's just 3 out of the 4 guys that are or 5 guys that I mentioned now are the defenders. In your Phillips, your Fleurs, and normally if it was a Clayton Daniels, he'd be shouting, "Stand on the ball." You understand? And that is where they now more worried about themselves, getting in themselves into good positions, and not worrying about just somebody kicking the ball away. And I actually expected somebody like Kakana to be, stepping up now. But he's not a vocal leader. He's more of a leader as a player. So yeah, maybe Ronwen could have actually gone and stepped in as well as the captain, put your foot on the ball or kick the ball away or stand on the ball. And then if you look from there, you have Phillips. Also, again, I mean, this is just inexperience from his side. You get Mhlongo that gets to sneak in front of him. Had he opened up a bit, seen Mhlongo and himself, you would have seen that he needed to attack the ball to clear that ball, because Mhlongo came in front of him. He thought the ball was just, casually going to come to him and he was going to clear the ball. So positioning maybe a bit out, lapse of concentration, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I think was just the issue.
But
I
think,
yeah,
go on, sure.
No, and then also again, I give a more respect to Caetano. Is he's saying, look here, and I have respect for coaches like this. You see, when you see a team is when their back is against the wall and he can sniff this opportunity to win this game, he makes the changes. He brings on Mahachi, he brings on Riziki, and it's all just attacking players. And you can see that's a coach that has confidence in his players and has confidence in the way the game is, and going out for the win. It's a win or nothing.
Yeah, so just to add on that one, Shoaib, was I think we can blame Phillips for the goal that they scored, but I think the total mess started when everybody started facing Ronan Williams. Could have everybody faced the ball, they could have seen the runners from the players. I think the sharpest player that was on the field was the one that saw after being fouled, and then the momentum carried on, and then he saw an opening, then they played.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying is from Ronwen's side already is just rush to get somebody to stand on the ball. But again, I'm going to say it's experience. It's just a lack of experience, and also having somebody just stand up and take control of the situation. Lastly, it will be Phillips' fault because when the cross came, but the cross could have been prevented, first of all, because the pass shouldn't have even happened. So in that sense, I'm saying a little bit of lack of experience, and he's going to make mistakes like that because he's a 20-year-old youngster still, still trying to make a name for himself. But then again, I also like what Caetano did, like I said, with bringing in his 3 substitutes, going for the win.
There we go. In the end, Eddie, it seems like experience might be quite critical to that Swallows project. Sometimes people give them a bit of shtick for it in terms of them being a retirement home, older players and whatnot, but boxing clever, like they managed to do today, those kind of tactics are some of what you're going to need in the mix to get over the line if you're trying to maintain, a top 2 or 3 finish. Let's call it that, because Schwabe reckons that this is Sundowns' title to lose.
Yeah, I think if you look at the first half, I think Swallows should have lost the game in the first half. SuperSport had the upper hand because they were in control of the game. They should have just more being aggressive going forward, of which they just didn't do that. They just let Swallows to, maintain that and then go to second half. I mean, second half it was Swallows, as you're saying, comes at that. Yes, people, they might say that retirement age players are home, but it comes to show that they don't give up. I mean, they've done it against Sundowns. Now they've done it again with SuperSport. So I think it's that kind of a team that with those players' mentality, their experience, they know that, listen, we can only say, yes, we have lost the game until the fat lady sings. So I think now, because of the equalizer, they got the chance to equalize, and then they do that. And yes, as time goes on, I think maybe they're also looking forward to finish it off. So they have those kind of players that have played the game. They know the situations where they can come out from, and they can try to defend. So now I think they just need now to not to depend on scoring the last minute, because one game you get a team that will punish you, and then by the time you want to come back, it will be too late.
Okay, there we have it. So just I'm going to give you a rundown, guys, just in case you haven't caught up with the other results, and maybe you can pick out ones that are interesting to you. TS Galaxy on the road winning 3-0 against Black Leopards. Bloem Celtic at home winning 1-0 against Chakuma. And then Lamontville Golden Arrows having to come from behind against Maritzburg United to win 2-1 there. And it's 3 losses in a row now for Maritzburg. Yeah, have you sent Ernst a text there, Shreib, to say it's gonna be all right?
Yes,
What's going on?
yeah. You know what? I was while watching the SuperSport game, I was also watching that game as well, and I don't think they're going to. They can get rid of him, because if they're gonna, I don't think they'll pull the trigger on that one, because I think he's the only one that can get them out of the situation. Fortunately for them is that the other teams at the bottom is also losing, so kind of gives them a bit of breathing space. And we know that our other sinking ship in TTM, we don't know what's going on there, so you can kind of just leave. For me, at the moment, is TTM is gonna get relegated. So I think the playoff spot is what other teams are playing for at the moment. I am a little bit frustrated and annoyed with certain players at Maritzburg. You know, you look at a player like Meza that signed for Sundowns, and it's like he's like what Eddie says Mtambo is at Pirates. He's a headless chicken. Once that head is down, he give him 10 out of 10 for attitude and 10 out of 10 for determination, but intelligence on the ball. And then I ask, do we not have local players that are better than that? I'm going to be straight up honest with me. It's frustrating to watch. It is very frustrating.
For sure.
So my thing is this: we're sitting with an Argentinian footballer that's supposed to come and help our locals, but he's just not giving anything. Absolutely, he runs around, literally head down, and does his own thing, and there's no composure. He just runs and runs. And I don't understand how our clubs sign players like this. First of all, I don't even know how he was good enough to be at Sundowns, to be honest.
Right.
And now I watched him again tonight. He's just one of those most frustrating footballers to watch. And he's always supposed to be an impact player. Just gives you absolutely nothing. On that game with Maritzburg and Arrows, I think Maritzburg again just took their foot off the pedal after scoring, and then just went onto the back foot. And when you allow a team like Arrows in, you must know that they're gonna come for you, because they come at teams sometimes pound for pound. So now if they're gonna come at teams for pound, imagine what they're gonna do if you're gonna allow them to come in. And then they just came up, and Pandile actually saved about 2 or 3 1-on-1s as well after it was 2-1. So they could have actually won that game with quite a bit more.
There we go. So I want to ask the other 2 gentlemen, do you guys think Ernst will finish the season at Maritzburg? So see, let's start with you, and Eddie, I'll come to you next. This is a question from Tapelo Sekete on YouTube. He wants to know if you think that Ernst will finish the season. Schwab is saying he doesn't see them getting rid of him because the man.
Can I answer first, please? They've already signed the German goalkeeper, so I'm thinking Middendorp is there to stay till the end of the season.
I was about to say the same. The one with a long surname.
Yeah.
So
I think with Farouk, I think he's going to be a little bit patient with Middendorp, because I think that's the only coach that can turn that team around. Now maybe they're just unfortunate that they're not getting the result. I think to sum up everything, what happened today is they tried. Arrows tried to play from the back. They tried their normal way of playing, which is build up, which it failed, and then they converted the goal, and then Maritzburg pressed, and then they got a goal. But credit should be given to Arrows. Arrows came back. They came back with more firepower. They attacked. They started actually playing on the middle of the park into the offensive play. Players like Lunga, who made sure on the left that he was the most busiest of player. And what I like mostly in Arrows when getting into the box, the composure, the technical quality that was applied on those finishes that they had. It was so great to watch. And one of the things that Maritzburg battled with was when they had the ball, the amount of pressure that they had from Arrows, which the counter press, losing the ball and getting the ball back immediately, was actually something that I've highlighted. That Maritzburg were very reactive to the ball. As Shoaib has said, everything that they tried, now you could see that they've lost hope. They always launch the balls now up front, which is it never profited to anything. Most of the players were quiet, like Judas Musiameri. I started seeing him actually losing the punch because he gave Arrows a good run of their money, and he was the one that was causing a problem in that final third of Arrows.
Okay, Eddie, your take on Ernst is still the man for the project, and pretty much has the keys to Maritzburg, it would seem.
Yeah, I think he is definitely going to stay, and I think maybe the mandate that he got was let's survive, let's just stay in the top flight, and I think for him now, I mean, if you get that kind of a mandate, you just need to work on your team and then try and see that you can get out of that situation. And knowing him and what he can do with the the so-called small teams, I think he will make Maritzburg survive. So I think he's not going to get choked. I think he's going to be the man for the job.
Okay, well, just to put it into perspective, folks, the teams at the bottom in 14th, 15th, and 16th are Maritzburg, Chakuma, and Black Leopards, and they all lost today. So they're all stuck on 9 points each, having played all of them 14 games. And then, of course, Chipa United are the team that sits above them, but they could still be kind of involved in this because they play Mamelodi Sundowns tomorrow. So if Chipa you lose that game, then obviously those three teams behind them will breathe a bit of a sigh of relief just to, keep that pack at the bottom a lot tighter. And of course, that's the other game to look forward to tomorrow. That sees Mamelodi Sundowns in action hosting Chipa United. And the other game will see Baroka in action against Cape Town City FC. And those ones will probably reflect upon come Monday on Soweto TV. But there we have it. In terms of the derby, it's been recollected. Gents, thank you so much for your impressions. I think we got a good derby. There were goals in it, so we'll be happy about that. And of course, there were goals in the game that saw SuperSport United and Swallows play out to a 1-1 draw. Gents, thank you so much for your time. You may say your goodbyes.
Cheerio, cheerio. See you guys.
And I'll say good night. Coasty for live. Okay. Thanks, Calvin, for being impartial. Thank you to you too for joining us on YouTube. Keep subscribed and the notifications set on for when we do more of these. Have yourselves a good rest of your Saturday. We'll catch you in a couple of